Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, and as always, I want to thank you for taking the time to join me here on Sunday mornings at 11:11 or at your convenience. Well, just a reminder that we have our prayer ministry here to support you and pray for you and hold you or your request in the greatest degree of love so that thy will be done. And if you're interested in receiving prayers or have a request, just send it to me. You can message me. You can go to my website, charlottemcginnis.com, and scroll down and enter your request there. So we'd love to support you in that way. So let me know and we will be praying for you. Okay, well, interesting day here in Flat Rock. I was awakened at 5:30 this morning by this wind and rain. We've been in a drought, very hot. It's been windy, very dry. And I noticed that it was very windy, very rainy. So I had to run outside and pull in all of our spring plants. We get so excited. I know they say to wait till after Mother's Day, but sometimes we can't hold back. And as a result, I got to pull them in at 5:30 this morning. So I was up earlier today than I used to being up. So anyway, moving forward, let's get right into the conversation. And today's topic is a little bit edgy, pushing the envelope, so it seems by the title, but it's definitely something that is worth discussing. It's definitely on people's minds and how we can. It's always, I think life is always about shift in perception, how we frame situations, how we choose to see the world. We don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. And when we understand these universal themes and have another way to look at them, that's a miracle. Because now it's like I might not have understood those in the past. I may have been fearful in the past, and now, oh, that makes sense. So yes, today's conversation is edgy, but my goal and intention is to be a message of hope. And as you know, I like to push the boundaries of our minds and belief systems and expand the possibilities of living a more peaceful, happy, and enlightened life. So here we go. Let's, as they say on the show, the podcast I love, Redacted. He opens the show, Clayton does every day. It's time to get uncomfortable. This isn't going to be uncomfortable. I think it's going to be a fun conversation, and I'd love to have your feedback and your thoughts as we go along. So feel free to pipe in a comment or a thought, and we can continue the conversation in the future if we need to. So remember when Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, same holds true for these weekly conversations. As you see, I bring in many different philosophies, thought systems, theologies, religions, ideas from many great thinkers and just common folk like all of us, and just sort of try to find a way that we can come together in peace and healing. And I would say that the goal of all of us is to live a more peaceful, loving, compassionate life, to align more with the Holy Spirit, to live a more godly life. And we talk about that in many different ways. So if you want to share this, that would be great. I'd appreciate it. And we'll just move on. Well, I was thinking this week, it's very interesting, this AI. Is it the mark of the beast? Or is AI the Antichrist? Well, a couple of things is, first of all, the Antichrist, if you really break the word down, Antichrist, anything that opposes the will of God is Antichrist. So anytime we're not choosing love, or we're looking externally for validation and peace and identity, we're choosing to stray from our divine nature. So Antichrist isn't this monster. Well, it is a monster because it's trying to keep us distracted. But in truth, it's just a decision. So the Antichrist doesn't take form of a person necessarily, and we could get into that at another time. I don't want to spend time because I've got a lot to talk about, but let's just say Antichrist is anything that blocks the love, blocks the light. And so I was thinking of all the, is AI the mark of the beast? And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I used to, still do actually. I think those of you that know me know that I'm definitely into podcast and hearing all kinds of points of view and learning and expanding, and so I can share with you what I take in each week. But growing up, I would I'd always land on like these the religious channels because you know, we only had a few channels then, and there was the fourth was often just the Bible channels, the Christian networks, and so I tuned into them and watch them, and many times I thought it was a little hokey and didn't really draw myself into it too much, but something kept bringing me back, and there was something that was kind of intriguing, and it was, you know, we're talking about Revelation. This is now, I'm talking 50 some years ago, 55 years ago, and the mark of the beast and what that means, and Jesus is coming back, and so on and so forth. And so it was always interesting to me. And as I've grown spiritually and expanded my viewpoint, I'm beginning to see, maybe there was something there. And so now we're going to go into this a little bit, and started what really got me. You never know what's going to prompt my topic each week. I don't know for sure. But what really got me going this week was I was looking, Ellen and I were looking for a desk for the bedroom. We needed a small desk that was, we wanted something with character and unique and pretty, something that would go with the furniture and the design we have already. And we'd been looking for weeks, months maybe, online, and we went thrifting yesterday, and just nothing at all came close. And had a conversation with my sister Molly, and she said, "Oh, have you looked on Marketplace?" Good morning, Becky. So I said, "No, but that's a good idea." And I tell you, within 5 minutes, we found the desk, made the transaction. We're meeting the gal on Tuesday, and I'm like, "Wow, that was easy." Remember the easy button? That was easy. So I was like, well, this is cool, and I think we're going to really love it. It's a perfect size. It looks as though it's going to blend perfectly, and we'll just see. But I was thinking, wow, that is so cool that we can, who would have thought? You know, I know we grew up watching the Jetsons and seeing all this, but we are living the Jetsons right now, I think. But put that aside, that was a pretty cool exchange, and how, you know, you can call it, we are Amazon queens, for sure. I'm not proud of that because well, we're not going to go into the politics of Amazon, but we definitely take advantage of the ease of Amazon, and some days we'll get things in 4 hours, which is unbelievable. Just type it in. Oh, I need this. Ask and it is given, right? So what about the AI jobs that we're hearing? You know, that AI will take over many, many jobs. You know, it's going to be interesting. It's already happening. You know, this is definitely sort of putting its tentacles out into so many areas. And so we're seeing that there will be less jobs available. I would say there are some jobs that I don't think AI could match or produce, but who knows? I would have never thought we would have gotten this far with it. But definitely artificial intelligence is a big part of what we're experiencing in this world today. And I know that I was listening to a podcast, and this gal was talking about, she's a writer, and someone had asked her if she ever used AI, because, you know, now you can type in AI, write me a paper on blah, 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 and it'll come up with something eloquent, beautiful, and powerful. And she said, no, because that is, you know, not my expression, not my soul expression. And I feel the same way too. Not that I'm an eloquent writer by any means, but I do believe we're seeing it in music. You know, I could say I want a ballad on, you know, played with the guitar and background piano music, whatever, on Love and Peace, and AI would put something together. So it's interesting it seems it's becoming a little bit too natural. I'm beginning that's my recognition. And of course, the big one is immortality. And that is, everybody wants to be immortal. Everybody wants to live as long as they possibly can. So just shoot me up with this, put this chip in me, and if it's going to make me more healthy or whatever, give me immortality, then count me in. And yeah, Becky, there you go. Chat GPT just about every day. Well, I think we do. It's just there. We use it. It's helpful, and I don't think it's a bad thing. But the point that we're going to discuss here today is to see how we're giving our power away and where maybe we may want to choose another way. And I'm not saying don't use these. It's just to recognize we don't want to cross a line. And I think it's very interesting how these things just build and sneak up on us. I mean, I know we all have the experience we all have cell phones, that's for sure, smartphones, right? And I heard that years ago that there's more, and this was years ago, there's more technology in an iPhone today than there was the technology that took men to the moon 50 years ago. So it's amazing the technology that is available for us in this little handheld cell, like prison, right? And we're so attached to it. And then the creepy thing is, it used to be you'd be talking about, I need to get some new pajamas, and all of a sudden pajamas comes up. But now it's almost as if these technologies are reading our minds. And I know that has to do with algorithms and all sorts of things. There's many reasons for that. But the point is, technology's definitely advancing in a quick way. Well, I'm sure most of you by now are familiar with digital currency, otherwise known as CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency, which is definitely in the works. It's already been implemented in China and being implemented in other parts of the world. But it is basically no cash. All exchanges are digital, and we sort of lose our, not that we're out here buying drugs, maybe some people are, but I'm not. But, it's not about really, we've lost our privacy. So in other words, every transaction the goal is everything will be digital, and they say it's for safety and go on and on. You can believe it, but I'm not here to take a stand one way or another. It's just fact. But I kind of like the idea, if I want to go to the produce stand and pay $5 for some tomatoes and carrots, that I can just give them a $5 bill. But there's lots and lots of things that are shifting very quickly. And so we've definitely heard these rumblings for years, and all of a sudden it's right in front of us, right? So I'm not here to, this is not a conversation about fear. It's actually, yes, Carol, it's all about behind the scenes. And all, I know that some people might think that I'm a conspiracy person. I don't know what's a conspiracy person. But, I do, you can't deny what's out there. And if you're just watching one part of the media, you're definitely, good morning, Molly and Carol and everybody else. If you're just watching one genre of the media, you're going to be taught their message. So you really got to open up. That's why I think I'm so, like I said, you never know what you're going to get, because I do choose, I'm a seeker of truth, and I'm interested in learning and knowing the bigger picture. And yes, Carol, to your point, much of this is behind the scenes. It's happening. It's not conspiracy. It's truth. And it's neither bad nor good. Thinking makes it so, right? So I'm not here to scare anybody. I'm actually leading us to a place of hope and how we can use these means for good, and how we can still stay in our power. And so we're going to move on from there. So, interestingly, I spoke about immortality a little bit. a minute ago, and of course Easter just being a few weeks back, Jesus' message, the two key messages: love one another and forgive them, right? And when we can truly come from that place and heal our own unhealed aspects, our own darkness, our own judgments, our projections, we overcome the world as well. So it all comes back to me, for me, to that simple yet potent, powerful message that he shared with us through his demonstration of crucifixion and resurrection, that we too can overcome the world. But are we giving our power to that which is artificial, or are we giving it to Christ, to the Holy Spirit, to use us as a means of expressing and communicating love? Well, one of my favorite teachers and a wonderful friend that has been around for many, many years, one of the greatest teachers, he's a futurist, been described as a futurist. He really integrates science and spirituality beautifully. He's got a background in with Lockheed Martin, a lot of cool, interesting stuff, and he's traveled the world and spoke to the mystics and the monks, and he's the real deal, and that's Greg Braden. And his latest book is called Pure Human. And he says that this is the last generation, could be, the last generation of pure humans. And what did he mean by that? Well, he talks about the behind the scenes agenda behind artificial intelligence, transhumanism, which is beyond human, and a rapid merging of technology with biology, a shift that could redefine what it means to be human. He unpacks the battle between good and evil and the power of human divinity, and how we can reclaim our potential before it's too late. So, pure human, we were created, our body, and this is something, if you don't remember anything today, I love how he expresses it. We're very, and I'm not Greg Braden, and I'm not doing the justice it deserves, but I'll try my best. But we give our power so easily away to these technologies, the ease of, be it Amazon, Marketplace. Not saying it's bad. Chat GBT, right, Becky? All these things. And we give our power away very easily and willingly and think, oh, there's no harm in this. And there really isn't. But I still believe that there is a line that we have to be aware of, not to cross. So, because what happens is our divine blueprint, we were created in the likeness and image of God, which is good, which is love, which is holy, which is divine, which is eternal. And that is what that is who we are in truth. Well, little by little, if you look at the mark of the beast, what's the mark of the beast trying to do? And the final, and we're going to get into this a little bit, it's trying to take away our humanity, our spirit, our soul, and impress us with means that are not holy and not eternal. And I do take, I begin to recognize more and more that in this lifetime, this is a lot of stuff in this lifetime. I think the masters have said, the sages of history have said that this time is one of the most massive times of growth in the history of humanity in the world. And there's major upheaval and change, and it's difficult, and at the end of it, it's all good. But we're the ones who get to choose how we're navigating through this. So the mark of the beast was always something that kind of terrifies people. It scared me as a kid too, thinking about it, really. But it's described in Revelation, and it says, it's a mark on the right hand or forehead required for buying, selling, associated its allegiance with the beast. Well, this digital currency could be something in alignment with that. That's, we won't be able to buy or sell without digital currency. Now, interestingly enough, and this is you can research it. I'm not here just spewing out like crazy stuff. But in China, they're already implementing this, as I said earlier, and that they also have a social credit score. So if you're doing your little Google searches and or if you, I don't know, throw a piece of trash out your car window, or you are acting in a way that does not fit in to the ideals of those who are doling out the CBDC, the digital currency, then you can be marked and you can be denied your assets or what have you. And it's not conspiracy, it is happening, it's fact. And most people say, well, I don't do anything bad anyway, and go for it, go for my searches. I mean, but it could be even as much as who you align with for information. And yeah, look up social credit score. Social credit score is based on behavior. Carol, I think you're just fine. So but it's interesting. And again, I'm sharing information, but the good news is we are going to find that there is another way. And I think that this is really a great opportunity to overcome this insanity. So the mark of the beast, you can't make exchange unless you have the mark. Well, you can't purchase if you don't have the digital currency. So it's very interesting. And go on in Revelation, if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives its mark on their forehead or hand, they will also drink of the wine of the wrath of God. So in other words, I don't think that God is out there, the wrath of God. That just doesn't make sense to me on one hand. But on the other hand, God is, we are free will beings here, and we can choose the mark, or we can choose to follow the path of light, of love, the path to God, the voice of the Holy Spirit. And so it's up to us, if we choose, and it might be a very interesting path, but the bottom line is to choose the path which serves love, which serves God, which serves peace and transformation of our heart, mind, and soul. And so this is another revelation. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and the number is 666, 666. We've heard that for a long time, right? And there's many ways people have manipulated that. I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you, because there's so many ideas. Maybe somebody knows, but it does say it's the mark of the beast. Maybe we'll find out whatever it means. But just a little funny thing, we've had dachshunds. We have no more. We've had 3, and they're the best dogs. Well, everyone thinks their dog's the best, but they were the best for us. And our first one, Lily, was this tiny little thing, and cute and but vicious. I mean, she scared us. She was about this big when we got her, and she would like growl in her little sharp teeth, and she'd like, show. So we used to tease around and call her Satan, and then we called her 666, and then her nickname was Six. So Lily's AKA Six. But she was a sweet dog. She didn't stay on the planet that long, but she was cute, but she was feisty, little feisty dog. So anyway, so the mark of the beast symbolizes allegiance to the beast. We can call the beast ego, right? Ego edging God out. So representing a choice to follow worldly or oppressive powers rather than God. It is associated with economic control, as those without the mark can't buy or sell, reflecting on coercion and totalitarian influence. The mark contrasts with the seal of God on believers, which signifies divine protection and identity. So our identity is in God, not in these temptations externally. Again, simple Christian teachings and teachings that are universal. Seek first the kingdom, live from your heart, and then everything will be bestowed upon us. So in summary, the mark of this beast is a biblical symbol of spiritual and moral choice. According to Revelations, it warns the consequences of aligning with dark powers and highlights the importance of remaining faithful to God, even under societal or economic pressures. So whatever this is that's happening, and it's kind of like we're, going down the twilight zone here today or what have you, but it's whatever it is, the answer is pretty simple and basic. Choose love. We can turn away from the temptations of the world, the darkness, which is to keep us in fear and to keep us in separation and judgment and anger and lack and sickness and so on and so forth. Or we can turn to the light, which will lead us to peace, transformation, healing, and eternity with love, with God. And so it's a moment by moment choice of how we choose to view and be in the world. What voice we're listening to. The Holy Spirit leads us to the power, as I was speaking about Greg Braden, this blueprint of who we are. The truth is, and I didn't elaborate on it enough, but this blueprint of our humanity is divine, and it is far exceeds the power of anything that is technologically made. So if we really build upon that, the truth of who we are, we can overcome all this. We'll be protected. We are protected. We're safe. We'll be in joy. We'll be in peace, and we'll know exactly what to do. So the temptation, though, is to take the easy way. Okay, just give me this. Okay, just put the mark on my forehead or whatever it is, get the CBDC and march around or whatever. So I found this, and I think it's a very interesting commentary. It's from a Course in Miracles teacher that I don't know, but is Reverend Kenneth Price. And I am going to read it to you. It's a few paragraphs, but I think it's so much helps us to make sense of what I'm sharing here today. And this is again an example of AI or algorithms or whatever. I put out the title for my talk on Facebook. I've been pondering in my mind for a few days. This morning I was scrolling and this popped up. I'm like, wow, that is interesting. So I look at it, yay, it supports what I'm choosing to talk about in a really beautiful way. But it's like somewhere is listening. I choose to say the universe was listening and saying, hey, Shar, this is really good to share. But this is where it gets good. So I guess what do we do? Is this message, is this action, is this choice, decision moving me in the direction of expansion, of knowing God at a deeper level, or is it keeping me distracted, afraid, in fear, what have you? So, cardio miracles, good stuff. Love it. So anyway, in the Course in Miracles, he talks about this when jobs disappear. And A Course in Miracles, Artificial Intelligence, and the End of Borrowed Purpose. And in the workbook, there is a lesson, number 25, that is, I do not know what anything means. So he says, I've been doing a lot of research on AI lately, and there's a common thread running through the smartest voices in the room. They're not predicting doom and gloom, and they're not talking about us being plunged into pods like some seen out of the Matrix. The real concern is much simpler and much closer to home. Jobs are going to disappear. Not all at once, not overnight, but enough and fast enough to shake the foundation of how human beings have understood meaning and purpose for a very long time. Because whether we want to admit it or not, for generations, employment has become one of the primary ways we define ourselves. What do you do? That's a question that carries more weight than we realized. It has been our identity, our structure, our sense of contribution. And when that begins to dissolve, something deeper gets exposed. Now here's where it gets interesting, especially for those of us walking this path. A Course in Miracles has preparing us for this moment all along, not by giving economic forecast or political strategies, but by pulling the rug out from the very idea that anything in this world has inherent meaning to begin with. I do not know what anything means. That's not just a nice spiritual idea. That's a spiritual tool for what's coming. Because AI begins to reshape the workplace, as AI begins to reshape the workplace, people are going to assign meaning to it fast and furiously. They're going to blame the government, corporations, technologies, political figures, and each other. The ego's going to do what it does best, create narratives, assign guilt, and stir fear. And it's going to feel convincing because the ground really will be shifting beneath our feet. And the ego, what's it do? It assigns blame and creates narratives. And, we all see it. We all witness it. Hey, Janie. So we're already seeing hints of it. Throughout history, when unemployment reaches certain levels, unrest follows. Not because people are inherently violent, but because when meaning collapses, fear rushes in to fill the void. And yet, right here, right now, we're being offered a completely different interpretation. What if the loss of our borrowed purpose is actually an invitation to find real purpose? What if everything we thought we were, our roles, our jobs, our identities, was never the foundation to begin with? That's the part that doesn't make headlines. Jesus said the course was given for people who had not yet met and for the situations that had not yet occurred. That line hits a little different when you look at the world today because this might be one of those situations. And I'm not saying this as an alarmist. I'm saying it as someone who has spent years watching the ego try to build a life on shifting sand. We've all done it. We've all tried to construct meaning out of form. And now the form is wobbling. So the question isn't how do we stop this, but rather how do we meet this? And the answer is simple, and as radical as it sounds, it's the same as it's always been. Accept the atonement for ourselves, not in some abstract theological sense, but in the most practical way possible. Refusing to let fear dictate our perception and refuse to pretend we know what anything means. We don't have to inject love into the world, we just have to stop blocking it. We don't have to fix the system, we just have to watch our own minds. Because if we can stay grounded, if we can resist the urge to panic, to blame, to spin stories, then something entirely different begins to emerge. Not from the world, but from within us. Clarity, presence, peace. And from that place, we become what the Course calls a teacher of God. Not by preaching, not by convincing, but simply demonstrating that it's possible to walk through uncertainty without collapsing into fear. That is the real service. That's our real purpose. And maybe, just maybe, as the old structures begin to fall away, what is revealed underneath is something that was never dependent on a paycheck in the first place. And he says, may the force be with you. And I think that what I've been talking about, he says so eloquently and beautifully, is that, we've given our identity to that which is on sand. I go back to the Bible. We want to build our house on rock, not on sand. So anything that we look at as a means of giving me safety, support, that is external to ourselves, we're not going to find it. But if we tune into our hearts, invite the Holy Spirit to help us, guide us, lead us, and direct us, if we choose forgiveness, let go of the blame game, the false narratives, because that's just perpetuating more of the same, then we can, and we heal our hearts, And he made a point here, and I'm also guilty of this myself to a degree, send love to the world. Well, he says you don't even have to do that, because what we're here to do is to strengthen that within ourselves, and that naturally that projects out from who we are. So heal thyself. Tap into that which is good, which is God. We've gotten a little lazy. We can I think the first step in change is recognizing that there is another way. That's the miracle, right? Shift in perception. So although we've gotten lazy and it's real easy to push that button and order that t-shirt or whatever it is, my latest order from Amazon, what was it? It was barley. So organic barley of all things. So, we all are here pushing that button all the time, but whatever it is, am I giving my power to these things? Where am I willing to draw my line in the sand and say no to that which may seem easy, may seem to give us immortality, whatever it is we think it's going to give us, power, control. Just remember, it's temporal. What we're seeking as teachers and children of God is that which is changeless, formless, and eternal. And that doesn't come from anything in this world. Yeah, you can rack up a lot of money and lots of degrees or whatever it is you're chasing, and it's not that it's bad. It's part of our human experience. But it's remember our divine blueprint, and remember to seek first that we are divine beings and express our lives from that. It's a funky time here on the planet. Thank you, Brooke. You are a wise sage in my life as well. And so I think that it's exciting times, but we have to be prepared as to how we show up in every moment. So and one thing we have to realize too is there's nothing out there that's going to save us. Not even the government, doggone it. It's the government will save us. Let's just put more programs in place. And there is a place for all of it. But if you're giving our power or expect this person or that system to save us, you're just deflating your balloon. It's just and so, the real transformation is awakening to the divinity within ourselves. And when we see the world through the eyes of that, it's a completely different world. I'm not tempted by giving my power to any of it. So a couple of things, even a better job, the government, perfect relationship, ain't gonna do it for us. It's fun, fine to have, seek first the kingdom. So we're all on our own journey, and we always have the freedom to choose in every moment. So that's what we're here to develop is that spiritual discipline to turn away from the dark, turn to the light, invite the Holy Spirit into our decision making, and live from that premise. So there is hope. I look at this as a opportunity to sort of shift that mark of the beast. Yeah, this may be happening, but there is another way, and I'm choosing to go down this path. So it's always in our choices, and we are beings given the gift and blessing of free will. Well, Eckhart Tolle, he says we have forgotten that what rocks, plants, and animals still know. We've forgotten how to be still, to be ourselves, and to be where life is here and now. So if we were just the power of now, that's his big message. If we were here now in the presence of love, the past is no longer here and the future is not here yet. So in this moment, peace is always there. You'll never fully understand your strength until life tests us in ways we never expected. But those tests are what uncover our resilience, wisdom, and quiet confidence that we're always living inside of us. And I look at that as a statement on, all this is happening is about us uncovering the resilience and wisdom and the strength that's always been there. And I refer often to the great fairy tale, the true story of the Wizard of Oz and how it mirrors everything we talk about. And it's, as Glenda the Good Witch told Dorothy, it's been there all along. There's no place like home. She did this journey with the monkeys and the witch and scary stuff, and yet it's no place like home. And home is where the heart is, truly. So if Neil Walsh says, if we believe in the noise of the world rather than the silence of our soul, we'll be lost. And I think that's why so many people are feeling lost, is they're getting caught up in the noise of the world, the chaos, the fear, the war, the insanity. There's not a whole lot we can do about it, but we can always turn inside and turn to peace and turn to truth. So as Nelson Mandela says, may our choices reflect our hopes, not your fears. And so it's really time that we live in alignment with love, with truth. So it's a great time to be on the planet. Is AI the mark of the beast or the Antichrist? Well, only if you allow it to be so. So, thank you all for tuning in. Pretty radical conversation today, but hopefully it gave you a little something to think about. And if you choose to pass this along, I'd be grateful. Just share it. That would be awesome. And anyway, I'll look forward to seeing you next week. The prayer ministry is always here for you. And thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, choose love and all is well. Thanks, everybody. Namaste.